Yeah, so Stan Robinson is absolutely my favorite utopian because he depicts in his utopias not worlds in which all the problems have been solved, but worlds in which the collective action problem of how we get along while we solve problems has been in large part solved. He writes worlds not in which there is no disaster, but in which disaster is attended by kindness and conscientiousness and a sense of shared human destiny, as opposed to greed and fear and a sense of individual destiny, the kind of Mad Max future where the only way to survive is at the expense of everyone else. And that, to me, is the genuinely optimistic prediction, because we live in a dynamic universe, right? Whatever works today will no longer work tomorrow because something will have changed by tomorrow. And so the important thing isn't whether or not all the circumstances are good. The important thing is what happens when the circumstances are poor. It's not how well the system works, it's what happens when it fails that distinguishes a utopia from a dystopia. So you take Stan Robinson in a book like 2312, that's a book that has futures that are every bit as grim as The Road by Cormac McCarthy, but the reason that Stan's book is a utopia and McCarthy's book is a dystopia is because McCarthy visits upon the human race the slander that when the lights go out, people go over to their neighbor's house and kill them and eat them, literally in the case of McCarthy. And Robinson aspires to a future where when the lights go out, people go over to their neighbors' houses and see how they can help. You know, when the power fails, people open their freezers and barbecue everything inside them because it's going to thaw out anyways, and share it with their neighbors. And you know, books like Paradise Made in Hell by Rebecca Solnit document systematically how in times of disaster we have a narrative, especially those of us at a distance, that is both racialized and tinged with class anxiety about poor people acting in a barbaric way and visiting upon the rich, you know, a kind of vengeance for inequality. But that when you actually look on the ground, that apart from elites who are gripped in a panic of their own making about this coming vengeance, this sense, I guess, of kind of retributive guilt that, you know, that having lived so high off the hog for so many years in the midst of people with nothing, that surely vengeance must be soon. That actual kind of normal people just kind of help each other out, and that where you see horrific violence and barbarism, it is almost always the fault of an anticipatory, pre-emptive violence against everyday people on the grounds that they must be on the verge of breaking loose into barbarism, the preemptive shooting of looters, that sort of thing. You know, the looting is, especially in times of existential disaster, is really just, you know, liberating of supplies. I mean, and literally in the case of Hurricane Katrina, CNN aired footage of white people breaking into chemist shops and taking medicine and water and food and described it as commandeering, and black people doing the same things and described it as looting. So that elite panic is one of the most horrific narratives that we have, and is itself the source of unimaginable suffering in times of crisis. And so utopianism is not just important as a way of thinking about the human race, but as a countervailing force to that narrative, as a way of kind of keeping people from assuming that their neighbors are going to come over and eat them, and so going over and preemptively shooting their neighbors before it happens.